Okay, so here I have two breadboards put together with a 555 timer and a 4017 decade decoder counter. I've got a pair of 5mm LEDs there, and a couple more LEDs along there. I'll give you a brief demonstration of what it does. The LEDs don't always like to stick in there. So it's your police lights, basically. Give a slow detour of the entire board so you can see how it's put together. I don't know if you'll be able to notice it on the video, but I've got a tiny U-shaped jumper right there. There we go. So you got your 12 volt in to the positive side of your LED, negative out, back into the positive, out through a negative to the resistor, all the way over to your negative, and back along up to the battery. And then this is your timer in from your 555 timer to your counter, and this is your common voltage. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 outputs. 3 of them in the correct order go to this first set of diodes into this transistor. 4 of them go to these sets of diodes to this transistor, and the last 3 go to these diodes and this transistor. These 3 go to this set of LEDs, this set of LEDs, and that set of LEDs. So you got that one, and that one flashing at the same time. And you have that one, and that one flashing at the same time. So you get a crisscross effect. And then the middle transistor and 4 diodes go to the center LEDs, which are your white strobes, similar to the light that'd be in the center of the light bar on the police cars. And where I got all this stuff is the breadboards and the jumper wire sets came from, and the resistors and diodes came from Radio Shack, and the LEDs came from superbrightleds.com, and the 555 timer, the 4017 counter, and the transistors came from digikey.com. And where I got this circuit is 555-timer-circuits.com. They've got a whole bunch of other different projects you can do. And it gave me the schematics of a basic one, where you just have 2 LEDs, red and blue. This is basically how it works. You skip every other output, and each one goes to a diode, which connects together. You have a 470 ohm resistor going to the input, signal input, which is the base, I believe, of your transistor, and that also goes down to ground. You've got your ground coming into the collector, and then you've got your emitter going out to your LEDs, and then you also have your resistors going to your LEDs so that way you don't overload your LEDs and fry them. 2.2 UF capacitor. The voltage rating doesn't matter as long as it's bigger than the voltage you're supplying it with. So yeah, I just built off of this schematic, which again I found on YouTube off of another video. And then to help me figure out what size resistor to use in line with my LEDs, I wrote down the voltages and amperages for each LED, and then I plugged that into this LED calculator that I googled and found online. You just simply enter your voltage supply, which in this case I'm using a 9-volt battery. The voltage, I used the maximum voltage of the LEDs, which for the red and the amber is, this is your common voltage and this is your maximum voltage of the specific LEDs that I'm using. And I just put in the maximum so you get the maximum brightness. And then all my LEDs are capable of handling 100 milliamps, and I'm using 2 in each line. And I just click design and it'll come up with this. It shows you how to wire them up, what size ohm to use, or you could do a schematic. I find it easier to use the wiring diagram. And then that's how I came up with all this. I just kept on adding on little by little. And I ended up with this. You got the strobe in the center, then you got the red and blue crossing with the amber over to the other side, flashing at the same time on the same circuit. And then you got the red, the blue, and the amber on the other side flashing at the same time on the same circuit. So you got this one up here, this red one, and this amber one all on one circuit. Then you have this blue one, this amber one, and this red one flashing at the same time on the same circuit. And this strobe light one is on its own circuit. And there you have it. You have your own set of police lights. Oh, and one thing I've noticed is that if you put the battery on backwards and the LEDs backwards, the LEDs will not flash, but they'll come up to a halfway brightness, and your 555 timer and or your counter will start heating up and you'll eventually be able to smell it. So if that happens, reverse your battery and reverse your LEDs. You have them backwards. There you have it.